Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Hollowed Roundtable. I am your host, Hollowed Arrow. This is episode 2, and we shall be titling this The Games That Made Us. Tonight, we will be talking about video games from our past that have impacted us in some way. Games that are remembered, whether fondly or just, terribly. But either way, just important things important games that really stood out to us and just sort of made us into the people we are today. So with that, on over here, son of a bitch. Well, I may have fucked that one, but here's our table for the week. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm not summoning it this time. It's just here. But I will go ahead and introduce our lovely people for the night. First, we will have one of our regulars, one of our favorites, Mr. Sleazy, the Bearded. Welcome on in here, Sleazy.
Yeah. Howdy.
Hey, buddy.
In the middle of a conversation with our good buddy, ChrisxChad.
You didn't even let me introduce him. Jesus Christ. Wow. Well,
He's still getting introduced. He still has a roll call.
Yeah.
That scared me, man.
I told her to be prepared.
Anyways, I'm Sleazy. How's everybody doing?
Well, since somebody already threw it out there, our special guest tonight will be Mr. ChrisxChad. Welcome on in here, Chris.
I was alone.
Yeah. I kind of spoiled it because he scared me. We were in the middle of a conversation. I just poof.
Yeah, I was talking and then I was like, yeah, Sleazy. And then I just looked over and I'm like, oh, he got pulled.
I warned you. I told you to be prepared.
You did, but I had
You
your
did.
stream muted, so I didn't hear the announcement.
Oh, wow. But this is our podcast group for the night. Everybody else could not make it or were lame. So
we're looking at you, yo-ho.
Yeah, you bitch.
Yeah, you only need 3 to play pool, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Did you do your summoning?
No.
What?
I fucked
Summoning.
it.
I am mildly irritated.
Trust me.
That was the bit, man.
I know. It was going to be our running bit for this podcast, and I fucked it up on episode 2. It was great.
Yep. Second episode in.
What is the summoning? Please explain.
Last time we started out, I introduced everybody, and I was like, hey, if you haven't noticed, we're missing something. We don't have a table. And then I drew a summoning circle and summoned a table, and it was a Minecraft table.
And so, I love that.
So this week I was going to do it again and use different magic words, and we were going to summon this pool table, but it was already here. So I guess the delivery guys were on time this week.
They were ahead of the summoning. They knew what was happening.
Yeah, the little imps that are in my employ already set it up for me. Didn't let me get to do the show properly.
Those damn IKEA imps.
Bastards.
And how'd you get them under your employment?
Listen.
He's a hiring process like that.
there may or may not be some cattle missing in the nearby area.
Because you took them in, right? You're fostering them. That's what you meant.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Fostering them. Gotcha.
Yeah, and you foster them so well that demons will be like, hey, you're cool, let us work for you. Then you sign a contract. Yeah, that's how that works.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Totally.
Yeah.
By the way, we have one more that's in spirit.
In spirit.
Yes. Katie sent me a list of games she would like me to read off, written on the back of a receipt. So she listed the dates and
Is it from
everything
Dollar
beside
General?
it. Probably. But yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games.
Okay, she will get an honorary mention then. Excuse me. Still coughing up shit from where I had bronchitis the other week.
Yeah, you feeling better now? Like
I feel
mostly?
a lot better. It's just there's still like gunk in my lungs that I have to cough up every now and then. But other than that, I feel great.
Nothing
Yeah.
like some gunk in the lungs to get you going.
Yeah. Just wake up with gunk in the lungs. I mean,
Or not one, whichever way you look at it.
I will say I do find it kind of shitty that I quit vaping, and within like a week I get bronchitis.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, you want to breathe? Fuck you. No breathe for you.
No breath for you.
No.
Suffer now, suffer.
But yeah. But so how's everybody's week, month? How you guys been? What have you been into?
Been working.
Yeah.
You
It's
Same.
pretty much it.
don't want to. Maybe something happened, I don't know, today that you were telling us about that maybe viewers might like to hear. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I upgraded from a laptop to a desktop.
Ooh,
Which
yeah.
which will hopefully be game and stream ready tomorrow. Thanks to our good buddy Cap America.
Yay!
Way to go, Cap.
I'll get him on the podcast one of these days. Special
Donald.
special guest, his wife and his kids in the background. I'm sure.
It's his feature. It's his bit.
Yeah, you can't just bring on Cap. You have to bring on his whole family.
Yeah.
Dude, that twerking clip I have is like
I hate it.
one of my more higher clips on the list. And it's amazing.
It makes me cringe.
Oh, I love it so much. I love it so much. I've rewatched it so many times. Half the views are probably me, but I don't even care.
Oh, lordy. You, but Chris, how are you doing?
Yeah. I've been pretty good. Just been like really tired because the weather here can't make up its mind. So one day it's like 70 plus degrees, and then the next day it's like 60. So I've been waking up with gunk in my chest. Work's been a grind. Um, Streaming's been a lot of fun. Streaming's been good. Got some exciting things to announce soon, possibly. Crossing fingers. But overall, good. Pretty good.
Good deal. Good deal.
What you're saying is coming soon to a beard near you.
Yes. Yeah. My OnlyFans. Yes, it's coming. It's happening.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say that. I'm very as long as everything pans out, because I'm that kind of person until I see things as like a written in stone sort of deal. So I gotta see the proof in the pudding.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Like,
Yeah.
what was it? I can't remember his goddamn name, but Supernatural. God damn it.
Dean Winchester, Sam Winchester.
Dean. It's Dean.
Okay, I was gonna start
his
listing all the
actor.
characters.
His actor. I can't remember.
Jensen Ackles.
Yes.
Wait, is that Jensen? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jensen Ackles. I think the Jared Padalecki, something like that.
Yeah. That's. Is that?
But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's, yeah.
But
words, names,
words, things happen. But Jensen, he was on a podcast or radio show, and I was watching a clip from him. And apparently there was this big uproar about whenever they announced the Supernatural prequel show that was coming out. Because he had been working on it, he had been helping write it and stuff. And apparently the actor who plays Sam had no idea what any of it was going on. And people were like, how are you going to do this to him? Like, you guys have been on the show for fucking years. You're not even going to say anything to him about it. He's like, I didn't even know if it was going to be okayed. Like the production company and everything. Like, he's one of those people that like he has a what's the word I'm looking for here?
Words are hard today.
It is.
The
They're
words
always
are
hard.
hard.
It's like it's driving me crazy. But superstition. Wow, I couldn't think of superstition. Way to go, brain. Good job.
You're awesome, bro.
You're
Yeah,
fine. You're fine. It's an S word. S words are hard.
there's so many S words. But yeah, the
Like
superstition.
fragilistic
Yeah, that
That's
one.
there's a lot of S's in that. Holy
That's a
shit.
lot of S's.
Yeah, that's a lot of S's. That's too many S's for me.
But he has a superstition about like when he works on a project, he doesn't talk about it with anybody. Like before it's like announced and okayed and everything's like in print, he won't say anything to anybody about it.
Hmm.
And he didn't have anything like solid on the prequel series, so he wasn't going to say anything just in case like they turned it down or canceled it or whatever. Well, instead of saying yeah we're good, we're going to make this to him, they were just like, hey, announcing a prequel show to everybody. And actor play Sam was just like on Twitter, he's like, I didn't even know this was happening, what the hell. And so there was like some drama about it, and apparently Jared was working on a different show at the time, so he had spent all day like nowhere near his phone because he was working, he was acting in scenes and stuff. And so whenever he finally got back to his phone and saw that it had been announced, Jared was like pissed off at him, and everybody else was calling him out on it. He's just like, "What the fuck happened?"
That's like one hell of a way to find out about that.
Yeah, and so he immediately like called Jared, was like explained it to him, like, "Man, I didn't even like know it was okayed or anything yet," and like they buried the hatchet. Like we're cool now. Like they understand and everything. It's just it was just I get that sort of thing. They don't count your eggs before they hatch, sort of deal.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But okay, let's go ahead and get into our topic for the month, day, tonight, this podcast, which is video games from our childhood.
Fidget games.
It's a game.
I figure we're all here. We're all on Twitch. We play video games. Why not talk about it? Why have a boys' night and just sit here talking about video games? Some nostalgia.
I like nostalgia. I like reliving the good old days with peanut and butter and jelly sandwiches and chicken nuggies.
Yeah, just having fucking pizza parties with your boys and playing Halo and not worried about bills or children or life.
Student loans.
I luckily don't have to worry about those. Mine are being forgiven, thankfully.
Well, yeah, but before student loans,
Yeah,
that was the thing to worry about.
yeah. I was prepared to worry about them because, like, I don't know if I told you this or I'm pretty sure I told Travi, but I ended up dropping out of college a couple months ago just because
Oh.
I couldn't keep up with the work.
Hmm.
Like I got my new job, and then also my son diagnosed with diabetes, and also my Twitch was taking off, and I was already like failing out of classes and stuff. And I was just like, you know what, I'm done. Like I clearly can't put all my effort into all of these things at once. So I had to pick and choose what I could do, and I decided to drop out of school.
Hey, listen, man, it's not for everybody. And second of all, it's you got to do what's best for you, you know?
Yeah, and that's the way I looked at it. I mean, obviously, I can't quit my job. I need money.
Right.
I can't quit my son. He came from my balls, so got to be responsible. And then it was either like I have to give up Twitch or I have to give up school, and I want to do this. I want to create content. That's what I want to do. like I was going to school for something that like I wasn't passionate about, but it was something that would make me some decent money. There
Hmm.
was a future for me in it, but I wasn't passionate about it. It would have just been, I sit at my desk 9 to 5, just another drone. Whereas with like Twitch and all that stuff, I'm passionate about this stuff. Like, the stuff drives me. Like, creating new content, trying to find ways to create stuff, being creative. Like it, I'm having fun with it. It's made me feel alive, a lot more alive than I've felt in the past.
Hmm. I totally feel you on that. And that's what work should be. Work should be where you enjoy going to work every day, not where you go to work every day saying, "Oh, when do I get to punch out? When the heck do I get out of here?" It should be a thing that you enjoy going to and doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. As I've I've done many jobs, everywhere from working at Burger King, working in factories, working in power plants. I worked in a prison for 3 years as a prison guard. Like I've I've been in a bunch of different places, and if you're not passionate about what you do, it sucks.
Hmm.
It's just boring. You just like, oh, guess I got to go to work and wait for, you know, time to go home, and you
Actually,
don't
wasn't
care.
wasn't
Okay,
the prison job when we first met?
I
Were you working at the prison when we first met? I'm pretty sure.
I think no, because I found you before I even started working at the prison.
Oh, okay. All
I,
right.
like I found your like channel. Uh, I don't think like me and you like became like friends necessarily until I was at the prison.
I
But
just remember early conversations with you in chat where you were like, "Yeah, I work at a prison," and I was like, "Holy shit! Tell us about that."
yeah, yeah. Let's see, because I found you through Crit Happens.
Ah, what a blast from the past.
Yeah,
God,
I remember watching you and Kiki and Depression and other people. Like those are the three that stand out. I apologize to the other people. uh, but I remember
yeah,
watching you guys play D&D, and you guys were funny and just fun to hang out with, essentially. And then I found out that you streamed on your own off to the side, and I was like, oh, cool. And I started following you, and I just every time I come back to, I would always like leave Twitch and then come back to Twitch, and then whenever I came back to Twitch, there you were. So I'd always end up watching you.
God, I feel old now.
You feel
I don't know
old. I
why.
feel old.
Ah, God, those
Feel
days,
old
man.
every day, buddy.
Uh,
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, video games.
video games. Sorry, we got off on
Ain't
a.
no video game.
My bad. I'll take responsibility for that one.
I mean, that's how podcasts. This is how my podcast will go. It's just talk about whatever. I would call it, I don't know, something like distracting or something, but I think that's already taken.
Oh yeah, be careful with that one. If you had an a bowl at the end, you might be in trouble.
I know. I don't want to bowl.
You don't want any a bowls at the end, otherwise you'll feel the wrath of Markiplier.
Yeah. I've actually been like, think I listened to like the entire like catalog of that podcast like within the last month, just as like
Dude,
research.
it's so good and
It
it's such a
is.
simple podcast. That podcast got me in story across the United States twice.
I I believe it because that is very. I was listening to that podcast at work for like every day for like a week before I
Mm.
found out I got through like the whole thing. And after it was over, I was like, but I want more. Give me more. I don't want to wait till next week. Now.
Yeah, it's such a easy and simple podcast to get into and full of nostalgia and just good moments.
It is. It really is.
Just like this podcast.
Oh no, you.
I did it. I said it.
Oh. Okay, that again off track. Off track. Maybe that'll be my next podcast. Off track completely.
just see where the podcast goes the whole episode. I like that idea.
We'll start talking.
We're rolling with it. We're just rolling with it.
Yeah, it's like a stream of consciousness episode of the podcast.
Yeah, but you know what? That's next month. I won't even have a title. Just whatever we want to fucking talk about. That's the title. But,
I like that. I like that. But video games.
Video
What about
games.
video games?
Them
Okay.
Vigi games.
Video game.
Let's start back as far back as we can remember in our old age.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in my day.
Back when we used to play on the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and whatnots.
And the Digimons.
All them Digimans.
I gotta catch them all, them Digimans.
Oh. What games really stood out for you back when you were a wee tot, just a wee little lad?
All right, how old we talking?
I mean, like NES, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, like those days.
Because I had a complicated, strict childhood, so maybe Sleazy should go first on this.
Oh no.
Okay. So are we just going by era? Are we going to like break it down by era? Like I talk a little bit and then someone else talks a little bit and then we go to a different era, or you just want me to slap just everybody with every era?
I mean, let's start at older era, and then we'll work our way up. I mean, there's not going to be much of a formula for this, other than just fucking go.
Okay. So one of the first ones, the first video game that I ever played was Pitfall on the Atari.
Oh wow.
Ooh, oh man.
Yeah, like ages ago, man. Like that was so long ago.
That was like fucking old by the time you were born.
Yeah, right. I'm dipping deep.
Like I'm not even going back to my past. I'm going back to my fucking granddad's past.
Somebody else, my grandpappy's past.
Oh lordy.
And I remember like Pong, dude, playing some Pong right along with Pitfall. But Pitfall was my very first one. My mom and dad had one. It was in the attic. I remember going up there one day and I'm like, "Hey, what's this?" And they're like, "Oh, this is a video gaming console." I'm like, "What are video games?" They slapped that bad boy on, and it was been all downhill from there. I've just rolled into and becoming a gamer. But aside from that, one of the firsts was pretty much any of the Super Marios from Nintendo to Super Nintendo.
Fair.
Yeah.
And then,
say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you go. No, you go ahead.
No, because I was gonna say like the first console I ever laid my small kid hands on was an NES that we had. Yeah, we had I think it was a NES. It was an NES, and my parents hid it away, and I found it, and God, how old was I at the time? I don't even remember, but I had seen and heard kids talking about it, like friends of mine. So I like snuck it out and played it, and I think it was like Dr. Mario. I think that was on the NES.
I remember that.
Okay.
I think that was it was Dr. Mario and I think literally Mario Bros. Those are like two of the few games that my parents had for the console, and then I got in trouble for it. But yeah.
Nice. You son of a bitch, I know your video game. In
How
my
dare
house.
ye.
How dare you?
Yeah, fuck. Like I never played any like the old Atari games. I never had any of those older consoles. The oldest console I had was an NES, and like as far when I like my earliest memories were from when I was like 4 years old, and I remember I had a Super Nintendo in my room already, which was awesome. And
Lucky.
but my out in my living room we had one of the old NES, and I remember playing the classic like Mario Bros. 1 / Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt.
Oh yeah, Duck Hunt.
Old Duck Hunt. I forgot about that. Yeah, Duck Hunt was definitely one of those.
Yeah,
Duck Hunt was good.
I think pretty much every NES came with a like Super Mario / Duck Hunt cartridge.
Yeah, it was like a bundle they were selling at the time.
Yeah, and I had the little like light zapper gun, and I still remember this day, like whenever I figured out if you just go up to the TV and like push the gun against the screen, you can shoot the ducks like every time.
Yeah,
It's like I
it
am the
was,
greatest hunter.
that's real life aim hacks for you
Yeah.
younger generation.
That's the first type of hacks out there.
Yeah. But I also remember playing Super Mario Bros. 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember like I loved Mario 2, even though it was like just a reskin of a completely different game that they just shoved Mario characters into.
Yeah, that one, Super Mario Bros. 2, I played at my cousin's house because they were allowed to have video games. I was not at that time, and they had an SNES, they had a Sega Genesis, so we played a lot of the Sonic games.
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario Bros. 2. They also had Legend of Zelda, like the original Legend of
Yeah.
Zelda,
Yeah.
and that got me hooked. I freaking loved that. That's how my love of Zelda games started, right there.
I mean
Oh, buddy,
that's
uh,
fair.
I've got my whole right arm is Legend of Zelda themed tattoos.
Oh, I think you told me that. I need to get a tattoo. I'm late
Yeah,
on this.
like I've got Hero of Time in Hylian tattooed on my wrist.
Ooh.
I've got the spiritual stones from Ocarina of Time on my forearm. Then I have a half sleeve of all the baddies, like the main baddies from Ocarina of Time, as a half sleeve on
Ooh.
same arm. So.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah.
All right. See, I like that. You got some unique Zelda tattoos. I constantly always see people getting like the Hylian shield. That's like such
Oh,
a
sorry, Matt.
no.
Yeah.
Oh. No, 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 it's still good. No, 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 it's
Yes.
still good. It's still very good, but like I saw people literally getting like the same thing over and over again. I'm like, there's so many things from Zelda, but it still is a cool tattoo, and I would totally still get it. You know what I
Should.
mean?
You know, like weirdly enough, another little fun fact: like my Hero of Time, the Hylian script it's wrote with is actually from Twilight Princess.
Oh,
Ooh.
oh.
Yeah, it just when I looked up the individual lettering, Twilight Princesses looked better, and I like Twilight Princess.
Oh, me too.
I actually need to add that to my list when I get to that.
Twilight
Kind of
Princess
forgot
is
about it.
amazing.
Yeah, very good game, but it just like aesthetically more pleasing than the other Hylian scripts. So
Yeah, I always thought about getting one of my favorite Zelda games, and I actually had this growing up on Game Boy Color. Yeah,
oh
Link's Awakening.
yeah, okay,
I
yep.
thought
All
about
right.
getting the egg on the mountain as a
Oh,
tattoo
nice.
idea, right?
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I got the Hylian shield. Fight me about it. I don't care.
No, it's a great image. It's very iconic. It's just I had 6 or 7 friends who all got it, and I was like, oh, like you couldn't get anything else, but it still is so cool, and I would love it. I'm
But
backpedaling here. I'm
you're
backpedaling.
backpedaling so hard, but
Sorry.
so it's fine. No, like I actually got this. I was working in Pittsburgh at the time. I was working on when I was in the painters union. I was working on a bridge, and I made good money doing that. And I was like, you know what? It's like my first time being out of town like this. Like I want to go get a tattoo while I'm in town. So I found a tattoo shop, and I walked in. I was like, hey, I want a Highland shield, and dude at the counter looked at it, and he like turned around, like shouted to one of the artists. He's like, "Hey, come check this out." And the dude walks in. He's like, "Hey, this from that game you like, is it?" He looked at it, he's like, "Oh, dude, fuck yeah, that's awesome."
I love
He's like,
that.
"Yeah, this guy wants to get it on his shoulder." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh man." He's like, when do you want to get it done?" He's like, "I'm open like next month." And I was like, "Dude, I'm here working out of town. I don't know how long I'm gonna be here. Can we do it a little sooner?" And he's like, hold on, like pulls out his little schedule book, starts like flipping through it. And he's like, I'll call this guy and tell him to come back another day. He's like, come out on Thursday. I'm like, sweet.
That's dope. That's I just love how like when people see it, you just know. It's such an iconic like figurehead of like the Zelda games.
Oh yeah, I've also got a Majora's Mask on my forearm, the same arm.
Yes, I've seen it. It's very
I
very
hate you. I still need to get that on the inside of my bicep to complete my sleeve.
Yeah, hurry
you
up.
you got time though. That spot's not going anywhere, right?
We're
Yeah, but like
amputating it next year.
the older I get, like the worse the skin, I guess. It's looking rough.
Okay. Your skin just falling apart. I just imagine you slowly melting away now, just year after year.
Piece by piece. Next year's the forearm. Then the ear slowly deteriorate.
Slowly.
You know what will always stay though? The beard, baby, the beard.
Oh,
Hey, dude.
Beard or die.
Beard or die.
Beard. I love that. Hey, that's a good beard brand name right there. I like that.
There you go. You can use that on some merch.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the beard enough for it.
You do.
My little sprite there. Beard. My little sprite there ain't imagination. That's a real deal, baby.
Longer than my beard. I'm jealous.
It's
okay. A beard's a beard.
Beard's
a beard.
It's all about the beard on the inside.
If you're a beard, I'm a beard. That's another quote. That's merch, baby.
These are all good ideas.
See, a couple years ago, you could have like got one of those like super long facial masks that like all the dudes with beards had to like cover their mouth and beard, and you could have put that on there and sold that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
God, you guys are just like idea men. Like instead of like hype men, just idea men. What the hell?
Dude,
I forgot about that.
I may not have the sources to put forth certain things like logos and stuff like that because I'm not like an amazing artist or anything. But if you have like a creator block and want some ideas and been spitballing, like get a hold of me for free. I don't want anything. I'll sling it at you, buddy, all day.
I'm so bad at ideas. I'm so bad at them. It takes me forever to come up with like a good idea.
See, I'm only good at ideas like in this sort of situation where we're just sitting here talking and bullshitting, and like shit just comes to me naturally. It just spew shit out of my mouth, and occasionally it hits.
But it's always gold. Always gold.
Like, wait, what was it last night when we were talking? We were talking about making a commercial for HelloFresh.
Oh yeah.
And using the clip from the hot tub stream.
Yeah.
Where I'm screaming about a Christmas story.
We're just gonna like, crudely dub over it.
Yeah. It was like no one's ever sat down with HelloFresh.
Fucking at me, bro.
Dude, that hot tub stream though. Hot tub stream, that was beautiful.
Oh, it was bopping.
That was a good time. We need to do something like that again. I need another like big push for like followers and such. So I need to do another grandstand, I guess.
Well, hopefully with me getting that graphics card tomorrow and getting the stuff set back up, I'm going to try to start streaming regularly again and push for my 50. And maybe we can do something like that.
You got this. You got the go check out Sleazy, listeners.
Yeah. Cool.
Right now at twitch.tv/Sleazy the Bearded.
No, wait, we do the plugs at the end. Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know the format.
Shh, you didn't hear it.
I thought you listened to the first episode.
Oh, get called
he's
out.
Telling him,
I did listen to the first episode, but I forgot the format.
I'm
not afraid to admit it.
Video games. How do we keep doing this?
Vigi games, though.
Vigi games.
Yeah, but Vigi games. All right. I'll jump straight back into it. Now we're hitting Sega. All right.
Yeah.
Sega Genesis era. I remember my first Sega Genesis. We went by a yard sale. I'm like, Mom, what is that? and this lady was selling a Sega Genesis with literally hundreds of games. Like, I don't even think I ended up playing them all. But two of the games that stood out for me in Sega was a game called Bubsy the Bobcat. I
Oh
don't
my
know if
god.
either one of you heard that.
I've
Oh, I
heard
know
of
of
that
Bubsy.
game.
Yeah, dude. That's super, super old, super fun. Earthworm Jim.
Oh, Earthworm
That
Jim.
is
Yes.
one.
Fuck
That
yeah.
yeah, I played that at my cousin's house. The ones who had the Sega Genesis and
Oh, dude, it's
all
so
the
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
so good.
I used to play Earthworm Jim back in the day.
And literally any of the Sonics, but my favorite would be Sonic 3 and or Sonic and Knuckles with the little combo pack.
Oh,
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
dude.
the one. That's the one. I was trying to remember which one it was. That was the one, Sonic and Knuckles. My cousin was obsessed with that one and would always want to play it.
That's so
Oh, so
good.
good. Dude, so good.
Like I gotta give some love to Sonic 2 just for the fact that Michael Jackson did the background music for it.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, he's not even
Did he?
credited in the game. Like he did it just for fun.
I would
That's
love just
crazy.
in the middle of like diggity diggity dan dan hee hee dan 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 dan.
But yeah.
Wait, real quick question. Anybody ever play there was two games. I'm trying to remember the one game, but Toe Jam and Earl. On the
Yes,
I remember Toe
yes.
Jam and Earl. Yeah,
absolutely.
I didn't play it much, but I remember it.
So
Yeah,
it we
I played a little
so whenever we would go to because they lived in New York, my cousins. So whenever we would go over to their house and we would like start playing games on their Sega Genesis, I would always want to play Toe Jam and Earl, but my cousin hated the heck out of that game. And I would always like have to beg him to play it because I loved it. And another one was Ghost and Ghouls.
Oh my god, yes. I
Yeah.
had
That
Ghost
game
Rules.
was so hard, man.
We would
But-
just be sitting there in their basement screaming at the screen, like on the top
Oh.
of our lungs.
'cause
There's no
screaming.
other way to play that game.
Well, whenever I played it, I had it for Super Nintendo, so it was like Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Yeah. That's the super version. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember playing that, and I could not get past like the second level of that fucking game.
That's
So
the
hard,
original
dude.
Souls game. That's
It
the
is.
original Souls game right there.
It is. One of my favorite games. I gotta mention this. If I don't, like, I will hate myself forever. My favorite game from that time, even to this day, Megaman X.
Oh, yeah.
On the
So good.
SNES.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Like I have bought so many versions of that game. It's ridiculous. I had it on the Super Nintendo I had back in my room when I was like 4 years old. It was one of my favorite games back then. I currently I have it on my Xbox Series X because I bought the Mega Man X Legacy Collection. I bought one of the Super Nintendo minis that came out a few years ago, and it's on there. And yes, I mostly bought it so I could play it again for like the millionth time. And
Naturally.
they came out with a version on the iPhone several years ago. Bought it there.
I
yeah.
have a stream idea for you, by the way, Hollowed.
Let me hear it, buddy.
Okay. Crowd Control has support for Mega Man X.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yep.
That'd be good.
I'm down for
Yep.
this.
I knew you would be.
I'm 100% down for that. Start saving up your channel points now, people, so you can fuck me over.
You just added him, and he is down.
Listen, I know his love. I meant to tell you a while ago, but yeah, it's on there. So you're welcome.
I'm down for this 100%. Make it a big fucking deal too.
Oh yeah.
Other games I played, I
Good
remember.
thing I've been saving for so long.
There you go. He's been waiting for us to do like another big collab, like Among Us, so he could fuck me over there. But now he's like, "Oh,
Yep.
I'm gonna do it on Mega Man X."
Hey,
Oh, you
listen,
just remember. I gotta re-download everything like Better Crew and the mod. Ah,
Nah,
God,
I
yeah.
still
install that.
got it all. I'm still down and ready whenever.
I think we're playing on the 11th, doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta double check on the 11th. I think I got something going on.
Freaking Mr. Busybody over here.
Well, I scheduled my stuff out early.
I know you
Sorry.
do.
You got me at a good time when you invited me for the podcast because I was like busy setting some stuff up. You're like, podcast Saturday? I'm like, I didn't make any plans, so yep.
Yeah,
Yup.
I was like, I want to get Chris in on here. Like, I gotta make sure like he's available. I don't want to wait till the last minute. Be like, hey, we're gonna do this, and then he'll be busy.
Yeah, I hate being busy. It sucks. It's
I,
like being free and not having to do things.
I don't know. I literally had to quit school to be free. So I was killing myself for like months trying to keep up with everything, and then I was like, you know what, something's got to give, and it's either school or my body. So
I'm glad you chose your body.
I mean, I break my body every day, but that's another story. Anyway,
Video games.
video games.
Video games.
There are
That's
two
going to be a
other.
running thing now.
Yeah. Just anytime we get off topic, we're just going to scream video games.
Oh, video games.
Yeah.
Video games.
Even
Good
if our topic's
segue.
not video games, we're just video games. But two other games I have to mention from this era was Donkey Kong Country,
Yes.
the original one,
Oh.
because
Oh, yeah.
that was me and my mom's game to play when I was that young. Like, me and her would sit there and just play Donkey Kong Country for hours. It was our bonding time with me and her. The other one is Mortal Kombat,
Oh, Mortal Kombat.
because that was me and my dad's bonding game. We would sit there and play Mortal Kombat for hours. My favorite character, even to this day, is Scorpion. I've even got a tattoo of Scorpion's spear coming out from my shoulder and across my chest.
I love that. Hear me out. I'm not a huge fan of Mortal Kombat. Like I played them
Mhm.
with friends at like friends' houses and stuff. But Scorpion was the character I always picked.
Oh yeah, he's so cool.
He is cool. He is very cool.
But in fact, that's like the main reason I got the tattoo, because it was my first tattoo and I wanted it to be something meaningful. And one of my like earliest memories just in life is me and my dad sitting in my room playing Mortal Kombat on Super Nintendo. So that's why I got his Scorpion spear.
I love that.
And then
How was it having parents that like to play games with you?
I mean, they other than those two games, they never really played games with me.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, hey, that
The-
counts. So
Yeah.
The one my mom actually would play with me was Sonic Pinball.
Sonic
Okay.
Pinball was so good.
Yes.
Some people freaking love Sonic Pinball.
I remember
Yeah.
I remember playing the Space Cadet pinball game on like every computer in the 90s.
Oh yeah, it was like pre-installed on every computer.
Yeah, because it didn't matter. Like my parents would like be on like the fire department and like stuff like that. They'd take me all over the place. If there was a computer, I sat down and played Space Cadet pinball.
Mm. The
Oh, dude,
classic
I remember
right there.
trying to do it like when we were in junior high. I would like sneak it and like try to play it when the teacher wasn't looking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Play
Yeah,
that.
God, man, you guys had such cool parents. My parents were just like, I didn't have a console until the first Game Boy came out.
Oh wow.
Like literally for like OG Game Boy, black and white screen. Your eyes would suffer, especially if it was like you were in a dark room without any good lights. That was like my first console, like first, yeah. Other than the NES that I used to sneak and play on, but my parents were super strict with it. It sucked.
That does suck because like my parents, like I said earlier, my mom didn't care, or my mom really didn't care much of what I did as long as I wasn't on drugs.
Yeah.
My mom would like be like, "Listen, I know you're a teenager. You're going to drink beer. You're going to drink alcohol. Just don't go out and drive." I'm like, "Okay, I can do that." I never did, even to this day. Like, I don't go drinking and driving. Well, to be fair, I have like had a couple beers while I'm out to dinner, then I drive home. But
Yeah, but that's completely different than getting just absolutely sloshed. And
yeah, if
you know,
I'm
like,
if I am
I've
drunk,
never,
I'm not driving.
yeah, I've never operated a vehicle like whenever I was like, oh god, like I can't even walk. Like, yeah, like you said, I'll go out. I like getting me a nice steak and like couple drafts of Yingling on top of it. It's a perfect combo.
Yeah.
I'll do that. But I'm not gonna go out and get hammered. Like, there's just too many people that end up, hurting themselves and others. and I'm just not
Yeah.
going to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
It's kind of selfish if you think about it. People that do that,
It is. It really
like,
is.
get behind the wheel. Like, yeah, you're putting yourself at danger, but think about all the other people you're putting in danger as well.
Right. Like I don't give a rat's ass about me. I hate me. So, but I don't want to hurt other people for my own stupidity.
Right.
Like video games.
Video
I was
games.
about to say it. I was
So-
about to say it.
I was gonna
Gotta
say
be quicker
I
on the
could,
draw.
I could throw some of my earliest ones in here. So like I said, Game Boy, and I remember it wasn't like the OOG Game Boy, like not the one that came out in, like, I think the original Game Boy came out in 1989 because I wasn't born yet. So I got my first console Game Boy. I was probably like 6 or 7 at the time, and it was like a green, like a lime, or no, dark, like forest green Game Boy, and it was I got like 3 games. I got Pokemon Red, I got Tetris, and I think I got it was some Mario game. I don't remember what Mario game it was, but it was some Mario. Oh, actually, no, Donkey Kong, the OG Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And those are my 3 games that I had with my first Game Boy, and that was Christmas. I remember in the car trying to play this thing in the pitch black, and my mom screaming at me saying, You're gonna destroy your eyes if you don't turn that off." And I'm like, "Okay, I just want to play my Game Boy. Sorry."
And now you wear glasses.
And now I wear glasses. She wasn't wrong.
Yeah. No, I
Uh,
get that. Let me think. I never had a classic Game Boy. My first was the Game Boy Color.
oh yeah, I had one of those too.
Yeah. And like I
Well,
remember
same.
I bugged my mom to get me one because like Christmas was coming up. I was like, "Mom, I want a Game Boy Color. Like I want to be able to play Pokemon and stuff like that." Because my cousin had Pokemon and stuff. Every time I go, I can't wait to play it. And my mom, like, I think it was like the year that the Game Boy Color came out. My mom like searched for a Game Boy Color and could not find one. My mom ended up having to have one of her friends that she worked with, one of her friends who drove trucks and went like out of town constantly, find one for her out of town.
Hmm.
And I got lucky and I got a Game Boy Color that year for Christmas.
Yeah, I remember the Game Boy Color was super, super big. And I remember getting so jealous. I got so jealous of my brother because if my parents were always like even Stevens, so if we get Chris this, we have to get Nick this. That's my
Yeah.
brother. So he got so lucky because he got the cool Game Boy Color that was like, it was like a light tint of purple, if you remember that one, that you could see through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just
Yeah,
stuck
that was
with
my first one.
yeah, and I was just stuck with the plain blue one, and I was so mad
Oh,
about it
Oh,
because all my friends in school were like, "Yeah, I got the one you could see through it," and they're like, "Which one did you get?" I'm like, "I got the blue one." They're like, "Oh, cool," and I'm like, "Yeah."
yeah. I wanted.
oh, nerd can't even see the inner components.
You can't even
Ugh.
see the board on it. You can't even see the speaker.
What a dork.
Wow.
Like the one I wanted was the special like Pikachu edition one.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
one I wanted. I never got it though because those were so fucking hard to get. I ended up just getting like a red one, and I was
yeah,
still
it was.
fine with it because I was just like, I want a Game Boy. Like,
Yeah. I remember when I first got it and I booted it up and I was like, everything's in color and I can see better.
oh, dude,
But
it's so
still,
cool.
it still sucked if it was like you were in a dark room or like darker room.
Oh yeah, like they were like add-on stuff that you could like plug into like the side of that would wrap around
Yeah,
it and be a light.
yeah. You would it was like a little flashlight and you would plug it into where the link cable would go,
Yeah, it would
and then
drain
it
the
would
shit out of your batteries.
yeah. Remember like late at night and be like, I can't sleep, I'm gonna play Game Boy, and I would like go under the covers and like turn the little light on, and then just like hour later battery's dead. I'm like, oh well, I'm going to bed now.
Yeah, yep.
Dude, I was always too poor for the light. And I like kids nowadays will never understand the struggles of non-backlit screens. Like
Oh my
they
God,
have
you were
no
so right.
idea. And I remember like on long car rides, like out to my family's and back, and I'd be trying to play at night, and I would like my big thing was Legend of Zelda, tongue tied, Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Seasons. That was the one I had.
I was gonna
Yeah,
mention the ages
yeah,
and
dude, so good.
I had
I actually
Ages.
had
So
both.
good.
I had both because
Yes.
my brother, my parents got us like it was like a 2-pack, I guess, and he didn't like Zelda games, so I had Ages and Seasons. He's like, here, you can have it, and yes, both of those, fantastic.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
Ages back in the day, and I never was able to beat it. I got stuck on like a puzzle somewhere.
I beat Ages. I didn't beat Seasons. Seasons is the one that I had an issue with.
See, mine's vice versa. I beat Seasons, didn't beat Ages.
I didn't beat either of them, so ha.
But what I was about to say is I remember specifically when we got into town, I would like, have Link waiting in a spot because my screen was dark, and then a light pole would come by, and I'd hurry up and try to get as far as I could.
You would
Yeah.
like angle it up against the car window and try to get the light in and be like, okay, I can move a little bit. Okay, there's no more light.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
you like go under the light post. You're like, go, 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 go.
Okay, gotta wait for the next
Pause.
light. Gotta wait for the next one.
Yeah,
I
all you kids in your backlit screens, you have no idea.
fucking spoiled ass little bitches. I had one. It was one of the lights. It was like shaped and like designed to look like a blob monster that like went like around your Game Boy Color. Like it fit perfectly around like the top of it. And you plug it in the side, and like one of the like an eyeball would like reach out above your screen and like shine a light down onto it.
That's cool.
Oh, I love that thing. It was so fucking cool.
So my first light for it was I found a little flashlight that my dad didn't want anymore, so I would like take the flashlight and put it in like the crook of my neck and like shine it.
Yeah.
And then my it was my grandmother again. She got me the little. It looked like a twisty straw light. It was like purple.
Yep.
And I had that was the one that I had after a while of just getting neck pain from flashlight in the dark.
I remember being this was a long time ago. I was playing the original Pokemon. I think I had Red. I ended up having like all of the first generation. I had like
Same.
red, blue, and yellow. I had like 2 copies of it for some reason. And I can't remember. I was pretty sure I was playing Red, and I was playing it on my Game Boy, and I would stay at one of my mom's friend's house like after school because she had to work, and her daughter was like maybe a year younger than me, and she would annoy the shit out of me because kids do, they annoy the shit out of each other. And I remember I was sitting outside and I was playing on my Game Boy, and she came up and was like, "Hey, let me see that." And I was like, "No, I'm busy." Like I had just beaten the first gym, Brock. I'd just beaten him for like the first time. I was like, "Yes." And she's like, "No, let me see it," and goes and like grabs it and goes to yank it out of my hands, but I'm holding on to the Game Boy, and she rips the cartridge out of the back of the Game Boy.
Oh,
and I hadn't saved. I was so devastated and pissed off. I've never wanted to hit a woman in my life, but at that moment,
that just hurts, dude.
and so I had to do it all again because I had a Charmander and I couldn't beat Brock with my Charmander, so I had to find a Caterpie, level him up, get him to Butterfree, and then I could use Butterfree to fight Brock and beat all of his rock Pokemon, and it was devastating. Butterfree.
Yeah, I did. So like, same with you. I ended up having all the versions, but I had Red. That was like the one I had. Red. Nick had Blue, and then eventually he gave it to me because he didn't play Pokemon anymore. And then I think I got Yellow in a trade because I don't know about you guys. Did you guys used to trade Game Boy games with friends? Because that was a thing that we did around here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I think I got Yellow version in a trade, and I traded like four games for it or something.
Yeah, I remember I had Red first, and then I got yellow at another point. I don't even know where I got yellow. It was just like, here you go. You have yellow now. And then I remember I got, like, for my birthday, I got 2 cartridges of Pokemon Blue. And my mom was like, well, I mean, we could return it. I was like, no, it's fine. I'm going to play Pokemon so much. I need these multiple copies. And I mean, I did like each fucking like different cartridge. I had like a different team, a different setup, and everything.
Oh my god.
I need it.
Yes. I also played. I played Pokemon Silver. I played the fuck out of Pokemon Silver.
Yes, that's the one that I had for Game Boy Color.
Yeah. I stopped after the second generation. I didn't get back into it until like X and Y.
Oh, I honestly, I think I've had every single generation, or I've at least played every single gen of Pokemon. Do I remember it? Absolutely not. Like,
Yeah, fair.
like I'll see a Pokemon, I'm like, what generation is that from? I'm like, where did the Chandelier Pokemon come from?
Why is there one that's just ice cream now?
Yeah, yeah. Why is there one that's just ice cream?
There's like at least 1 or 2 generations where like we've run out of fucking ideas.
Oh yeah, you can just picture them over at Pokemon HQ saying, "I got an idea, just ice cream. It's
Just
an ice cream Pokemon."
what does it evolve into? More ice cream.
A Sunday, obviously.
Yeah.
I haven't
um.
played since Emerald, like
Ooh,
the remake.
Emerald was the one that came out with Ruby and Sapphire, right? Was
Yeah.
it
It was
Ruby
I
the,
Sapphire?
believe so.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
those were
think it was
closet.
Blue remake or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's one that I never played. The Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Yeah. I
Leaf
never
Green.
played those
That's what
ones.
I'm thinking of.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
thinking of the remakes.
yeah.
Yeah.
When did those come out? Because I never played
Those
those.
were on Game Boy Advanced. I
Yeah.
remember I can see the cartridge
PSP.
now.
I had it
Okay.
on SP.
I had an
Ooh.
SP as well. I still have it somewhere.
Yeah, I had after my Game Boy Color, I had Game Boy Advanced, and I had the purple one. And one of the games to this day, my favorite game on my Game Boy Advance, 2 of them, Advanced Wars, actually 3 that I can think of. Advanced Wars, Fire Emblem, and Metroid Fusion. I don't know if anybody is a Metroid
Oh
fan,
my
but
god, I loved
Oh
Metroid
yeah,
Fusion.
Metroid's good.
Fusion, I actually have a funny story with Fusion. So back when I had my Game Boy Advance and I had Fusion, I had like beaten it, but I was still like so obsessed with it. I would just keep like playing it and trying to like get like all the upgrades and everything.
Oh, dude, me
Uh
too.
yeah, okay, I'm not alone.
No, dude, I beat that game like 4 or 5 times.
It's probably like one of the best Metroid games. It's so good.
And like I was trying to like beat it faster and faster and like get all the unlocks and stuff, so that way I could
Mm.
see more of those somewhat scantily clad pictures of Samus.
Oh, oh, Samus.
Boobs.
Not me looking over at my Samus amiibos.
Oh, I like boobs.
Uh,
She has boobs.
but yeah, so we had a boat actually at this point in my life. It was like a little boat. It was like a 24, 28 foot boat. It had like a little cabin and stuff. And I was going with my dad to we were either taking it out or getting ready to take it out. And we had a minivan. I'm in the minivan. I'm playing my Game Boy. My dad's like, "Oh yeah, we're almost there." And we got to where the dock was. And he's like, "All right, turn your Game Boy off." He's like, we gotta go on the boat." I'm like, "All right, Dad." So I turned it off, but I had it in my pocket, and we got out of the car, did all the stuff on the boat, got back to the car, and it like fell out of my pocket. And I was like, oh no, my Game Boy. So I picked it up, we get back in the car, we drive home, and I go to grab my Game Boy and I look, and the fucking game popped out of my Game Boy Advance. And I begged my dad, I'm like, please, can we go back? Can we please? The game is back there. And we went back and I couldn't find the game. It just disappeared.
Oh no.
It just, and I was
Oh,
so upset, and I tried I begged my parents for another copy. They wouldn't get me another copy. They were like, "No, like you lost it, and this is what you got. You got to learn to take better care of your things." And I was heartbroken because I absolutely loved that game.
Oh, that sucks. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another game. There was one. I can't remember the exact title of it, but it was a Castlevania game that was on the Game Boy Advance.
Wait. Oh, go ahead. Because there was a specific one I loved for Game Boy.
It, I had the bad thing is like I have it because I bought a Castlevania like uh fucking like collection off of my Xbox that, and I bought it specifically because it has this Castlevania. And it's something about a moon, but that's like 4 or 5 different other titles, I think.
Was it Circle of the Moon?
Maybe,
Because
but
the one that I remember on Game Boy Advance, I'm trying to remember that. Yeah, but you're absolutely right. There's like a bajillion of them.
yeah, I mean they have their own like Castlevania Advance collection, which is all the Game Boy games that came out. But yeah, this one I mean, use the classic like whip, but you could get like cards off of like different enemies and like, different areas.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
No.
Are we? Oh no. Okay, but I know the one that you're. I thought that was the name for it, but I
No,
know that one because I had that too. The one with the cards.
Yeah, no. Symphony of the Night is the one that was on PlayStation, and you played as Alucard.
Right.
But yeah, I remember playing that. I never owned it, but my buddy did, and whenever I'd go over to his house, like he'd play it all the time, and every now and then I'd get to play it, but he wasn't playing it, and it was
Trying
fun.
to find the name of it. Yeah, that one was the one that I think that was the first Castlevania game. Well, actually no, I played there was a Castlevania I played on my cousin's and SNES, but that was the first one that I owned. That one with the cards, and I'm looking up the name right now. I'm trying to figure out what it was called.
Yeah. God, no, I will look it up. Hold on.
Was it Circle of the Moon? I don't know if it's Circle of the Moon. I have to, if I see images of it, I would know. Yes, Circle of the Moon. I'm pretty sure because the main character looks familiar.
Yep, it was Circle of the Moon. Absolutely.
Yep.
I see the box art, and I was like, "Yep, that's it."
Yeah, that character I remember because he was like so cool and edgy, and I remember you could get like a fire. You turn your whip into like a fire sword by equipping a certain card.
Yeah, you could like mix and match the cards to do like different things.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
You like Castlevania, Sleazy? Did you ever play one?
Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
still
Sorry,
love
I haven't
your
been
native.
jumping in. I'm trying to do like background stuff
No,
on
it's
my
okay.
end, like while we're doing this. I am listening very attentively though. Because see, my mic was muted, but the moment you said my name, I'm here.
Yeah, he's here. Let's see, other games for that time. A classic Mario 64. Like I remember playing it. I remember very specifically this was before I had an N64, but they were out, and my dad we would always go over to one of his friends' houses, and his kids who were older than me would let me play on their like N64 and stuff. And I remember playing Mario 64 for the first time, and I was playing like one of like the first like Bowser like levels, and I was running through and like jumping and whatnot. And my dad saw me playing it. He's like, "How are you so good at this already? Like, have you played this before?" I was like, "No."
I'm like, just a gamer, dude.
He's like, see, I knew that like he was talking to his friend. He's like, I know he plays games, but I didn't know he was like good enough to where he could play games in like this, like in 3D. He was talking about like 3D, but he didn't know how to articulate it.
Yeah,
he's like, it's like I didn't know he could play games like this because he's only ever seen me play like 2D games. I sure had N64 after that.
The N64 was like the first console that introduced like 3D stuff, right? Or wait, when did the PlayStation come out? I'm trying to think.
I think the PlayStation beat N64 like just by a little bit.
And I hated it, dude. I resented the PlayStation. That's where my early hate for PlayStation happened, was because of that. Because people, like when you got Game Informers and stuff like that way back in the day, before you got on the internet and researched everything, it was like, oh, Sony's PlayStation outranks the Nintendo 64 by blah, 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 blah. I was like, you're wrong.
No,
how dare. Yeah, PlayStation 1 came out 1994 and the N64 came out 1996. So it was the PlayStation first, but
Mm.
my parents, I asked them for it and they were like absolutely no because it was so expensive.
Oh, I'm
But
sure.
they did get us an N64. I remember freaking the heck out that Christmas for them
Hmm.
getting it was a conjoined gift for me and my brother. Like that was her gift for Christmas.
Chris is
But
actually the excited N64 kid from the internet.
you know what? God, there's videos. My parents recorded everything. There is a video of little me screaming my head off as we unbox an N64 and just screaming. Just
Dude,
it,
I can say the same because other than, some like hand-me-down garage sale stuff, the N64 was my first brand new console ever. Like I opened
Mhm.
it up out of the box. It at that point in time came with the gold cartridge Ocarina of Time package, which I still
Ooh.
wish I had that. It
that's like
makes
a
me so mad.
collector's item at this point.
Yes. The only thing I got going for me now, and this actually goes into my next part of the saga, in the N64 part. So I'll just roll with some of them here. Um, but I do have a copy of Ocarina of Time that portrays the what is it? When the Mirror Shield, where they changed it,
Oh,
like
where it shows like the
mine.
moon and whatnot,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
essentially just the was it Islamic symbol.
Yeah, it has a like a crescent moon with a star in the center of it. Like I still have a copy of that. They shipped all new ones out and they changed it and it's something else. I can't remember. But I at least have one of those copies. So that's whatever. I do actually still have two N64s here at the house. I've got a copy of Majora's Mask sitting right beside me.
Dude, I'm
That's
so
my
jealous.
dude, my all-time favorite uh game. One N64 was Majora's Mask. Ocarina of Time holds like a separate little spot in my heart because it was the very first N64 game I had, and I really lived it. Like I would pretend I was uh dating some of the girls like in the game.
He
I'd
was
be
role
running up the
playing.
Lon Ranch. Yeah, dude, I was. I really was. But I lived in that game, dude. There was just so much about it, and I remember there was so many times mom yelling at me to turn the TV down because all you'd hear for hours on it was hut 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 hut
Yeah.
of me rolling across Hyrule for hours on end,
Yeah.
like to get to places. Like so, those obviously I explained earlier. Legend of Zelda, all over my right arm. It's my all-time favorite game. Period. Another good one for N64, Jet Force Gemini. That was a super good one.
Yeah,
What the
that was a
fuck is
good
that?
one.
Yeah.
I don't know
Uh
this one.
oh, buddy, you have to look it up. It's really good.
Okay.
Very, very good.
I had obviously Banjo Kazooie. Like everybody has
Yes,
Banjo Kazooie.
Yeah.
that was on my list. Yeah, Banjo Kazooie was big for me.
Oh yeah.
I never played it.
I'm trying to remember the full name of this. Maybe when you guys know it, but it had something to do with Gecko, like Enter the something maybe.
Oh,
Gex.
Gex, that's
yes,
it,
Yes.
dude.
Yes. I
Yes.
yes.
remember Gex.
Yes, that was one of them. I just slapped Gecko down here on my notes, like because I
That's
knew that
fair.
was part of it. I just couldn't remember. Obviously Super Mario Party. That was a
Oh my
blast
god, Super
with my
Mario
cousins.
Party.
Yes, that's on my list
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
007. It's
Double O
classic. Okay.
GoldenEye, yes.
Yes,
See,
classic.
I remember playing GoldenEye like with my cousin whenever I'd go over to his house, but it was never like a big game for me. I understand like it has a
Right.
very important place in like the history of video games. Just to me personally, like it was never a standout game.
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, yep, yep.
I
Remember that
forgot to
one.
mention those two. They were on my list. I forgot to read them
Yeah,
off. But yes, Mario
Yep.
Kart.
Mario Kart was big for us. I'm trying to think of some other ones because
Um,
you said a few of mine.
mhm.
Oh, Pokemon Stadium.
Oh, Pokemon Stadium, love that. Pokemon Snap.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Now that you say that, that's on Katie's list.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, to go back, Sonic, the very first Sonic, and she has a little notation here until water level.
Until water level.
I don't know what it is with water levels in games, man. They suck.
They
But
do.
Pokemon Snap was on there. The OG Legend of Zelda, or maybe not OG. This is 1998.
Oh,
So that's
that's
probably
That might be
that's the
Ocarina of Time.
Legend of
that's Ocarina of
Zelda.
Time.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that? Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Actually, Ocarina of Time. It was one of my favorite games. Like with I'm sure everybody else, but it stands out to me because that was the first game I'd ever actually beaten, like from start to finish.
Oh,
Every other game up until that point, like, was just put the cartridge in, play it, try to get as far as you could get, and like die, restart at the beginning, try to get a little farther each time. But there's no such thing to me as beating a game or completing a game. Like you just
gotcha.
play it until like you get bored of it.
Right.
It
Yeah, like with
wasn't.
me, with Ocarina of Time, I 100% it by the age of 13.
See, I
Wow.
didn't 100% it because I beat the game without ever getting a Pona. I don't know how.
See, you know what? My first time didn't get a Pona because I didn't realize that was a thing. Second
No
time
Epona
though,
gang?
yeah,
Yeah, no
Epona
Epona gang.
I stole her, man. I couldn't beat the race, and I was just, riding Epona around. Next thing I know, Link jumps over the back wall with Epona. I was like, what?
Yeah, we didn't know that shit could happen. We didn't know we could do that.
No. Then the only time I was able to 100% it is when Game Informer came out. And I got one that had Legend of Zelda and showed every location of every item, you know, like it was awesome. But that's whenever I was able to 100% it,
Let's
like
see.
with a little extra.
See, here's the thing. Here's another thing that I never got, and to this day, I have no idea where to get it from in Ocarina of Time. The ice arrows. Never got them. Have no idea where they're at in the game.
There's a cave. There's a right. Wasn't it a Great Fairy Cave? I think. I think you get it as. Oh no, I'm thinking of the crystals that you get that do like the Din's fire and stuff like that. Never mind. I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
I got Din's Fire. Like, honestly, I was able to, like, beat a bunch of things with Din's Fire that I wasn't supposed to be able to do yet.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember where you get those from because I remember getting them.
I never did. I
Matt,
knew they were a thing. Like, I knew because I had the fire arrows. I knew ice arrows were a thing because I remember seeing them in a magazine. I had the light
you want to
arrows.
know why?
Why?
Because it was the Gerudo training ground.
It
It was the arrow, the archery thing.
Oh,
yeah, that would
right,
explain why I never
right.
got them.
No wonder. I think I blacked out on that whole entire
Oh,
area. in
dude, that
game.
was awful. I hated it.
To be fair, I don't even know how I got
So
in there
much.
without like Epona. Because don't you need Epona to like get like over a fence or
Oh.
something?
Oh, but no,
Hookshot.
I think
Oh,
well,
hookshot.
yeah, well, yeah, because you go in there as adult Link.
Yeah.
Oh no, don't you go there as young Link? I forget. Honestly,
You go
it's
as
been so
young
long.
and adult.
You go, yeah, you can go as young. I think you got to sneak in. No, it doesn't have a bridge. How do you get over there as young?
I think you can climb over there.
Well,
I think there's like a.
if I remember correctly, you go as an
Oh.
adult, use the hook shot, and like go across the bridge, sneak in, and then once you get to the temple, you learn the song, and then you can teleport there.
I thought you got Requiem of Shadow and it teleported you there.
Requiem of Spirit.
Whatever, you know what I mean.
Excuse you, Mister. I got
think
tattoos up my head.
I need to replay Ocarina. It's been too long. I'm
We
like,
can do
Oh, it's so
multiplayer.
good.
I
Oh,
honestly
dude,
don't
yeah.
remember any of this.
We can hook you up with the mod on Mod Loader, and we can play multi-world where we can screw each other over by not finding things. Yo ho, I'm aiming at you, buddy. I'm aiming at you, buddy. But it's amazing. You can literally play Ocarina of Time randomizer with your friends.
That's
Yes.
actually really cool.
It's super fun.
We will hook
Because
you up.
I honestly was thinking because I had actually Majora's Mask on for Spooktober because there's actually crowd control for Majora's Mask and also Ocarina. But
Oh,
yeah, I would
ideas.
yeah.
But Majora's Mask is like one of my favorite Zelda games. Obviously, I have
Same.
a tattoo. And
I don't care if it was rehashed, thrown together in less than a year. The story is amazing. Like everything about that game is amazing. Like I don't even care. People
Yeah,
get at me.
Like the darker tones to it just help. Like, I mean, for me personally, because like I like spooky things, I like darker storylines and whatnot.
Yeah.
And just I like it. Like it's just
Oh,
it's
I do
kind of
have like a horror story. like a real life horror story with that. I was so pumped when once again kids don't know the struggle of going to Blockbuster and renting games.
You spoiled bitches.
We couldn't just, download them illegally online with
Yeah.
emulators. Anyways, but I went to Blockbuster and I was looking and I saw Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. And I was like, I saw this in one of my magazines. I'm so pumped. I've been wanting to play it. So I grab it. I rush home. I slap that bitch in my N64. And then some weird Japanese text pops up on the screen that I have no idea what it means.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
like, what does this mean? So I had to walk 4 houses down from where I lived to go to my cousin's house because they had a computer, which, by the way, not everybody had a computer in their household back then.
That
Kids
is
also.
true. That is true.
We didn't have.
I did not.
We didn't have computers in our pockets at all time.
Yeah. So I go down there, get on, which you guys also don't know, dial-up internet. But I had to go there. It sit for 45 minutes to look up why this wasn't working. Come to find out, you got to have an expansion pack. You know that little red and black boy that goes in the front of that N64?
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, my cousin had one in his, and he let me borrow it.
Oh,
What a champ.
Yeah. And it literally, all
Ultra.
that, it is a 3 megabyte expansion pack. The only
that was
reason
huge
it
back
was,
in the day.
oh yeah,
Yeah, that
huge,
was huge,
absolutely
yeah.
huge. But the only thing that Majora's Mask needed that extra 3 megabytes was the flipping animations for Link jumping. That's it.
Right.
That's
I
literally
remember
it.
that.
Just because he did some fancy flips.
Yeah, but
that
how
was
fucking
it.
cool was it when you go to
Oh,
like jump and
dude.
he like does like a
Oh.
side flip?
It's
I dropped my controller. I was like, what?
I
What is
remember the
this?
first time I did that, I was like, this is the future of video games.
Yeah. And once again, that's why I was like, suck it, PlayStation.
Yeah, because the same thing happened to me. I remember me and my dad went to Toys R Us, and he's like, "Hey, if you want a video game, go pick one out." I was like, "Okay," and we go over to the video game aisle of Toys R Us, and they had the big like TV display that would like show like demos of games and stuff, and you like
Oh, yeah.
you could like grab a controller and like play demos or like pick
Yeah, they would have the little yeah, I remember that.
or you could like pick like trailers and stuff to watch. And my goal whenever I went to Toys R Us was like, I'm going to pick up like Pokemon Stadium 2 or whatever the fuck it was called that like came out with Pokemon Silver. And I was like, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna play this. And like I was like, I got time to kill, like I'll check out the demo. And I saw Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, and I was like, oh, I know Legend of Zelda, I played Ocarina of Time, I like that game, what's this? And I looked at it, it was a trailer, and like you just saw like the moon coming down and shit exploding, like little Link, and I was like, this is dope.
My mind has been blown. What?
And my dad comes over, and I was like, I'm torn. I was like, I either get Pokemon Stadium 2 or this new Legend of Zelda. My dad looks at it, and he's like watching the trailer with me. He's like, I think you'd like this game more. I was like, you know what, you're probably right. So I got Majora's Mask. We took it back to his house. My parents were divorced at this time, and I like put it in, was ready to play. Can't play it.
Oh.
I was like, I don't understand why can't I play this. And like, my dad ended up like going through the phone book and calling Nintendo of America, and asked like talking to them about like why I can't play this game on my N64, and they told him like, oh, you have to go buy the expansion pack that comes separate with it. And he's like, so my son can't play this game unless we buy this other thing. And they're like, yeah, sorry, fortunately it needs it. And I thought, man, I'm not going to get to play. Like, my dad just bought me this video game. He's not going to go out and like immediately buy this expansion pack. But he did. He went out to Toys R Us and bought the expansion pack for me and brought it back, and I played the shit out of Majora's Mask.
Damn. Dad's a champ.
Oh, I love my dad. I'll joke and make like deadbeat dad jokes, but I love my dad. My dad's a good dad.
I never had any issues with the expansion packs. And I was just thinking about like N64 stuff. Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
Loved the heck out of Star Fox 64. And two games that I was not allowed to play, but I would go over friends' houses to play. Conker's Bad Fur Day and Resident Evil.
Oh yes.
Yeah. I think it was specifically Resident Evil 2 on the N64. I don't think it was 1.
I had a traumatic event with Resident Evil.
Resident on the N64?
I think it was actually PlayStation was the version, because I was at my dad's friend's house and his kids were letting me play on their PlayStation, and like I was just like going through and playing different games. Like I don't know if I couldn't read or if I just didn't read at this point in my life, but I would just like grab a game out of their like game pile, like pop it in and play it for a little bit. And there were two games that I did this with. One of them was Silent Hill 2. And I remember I loaded up like a save file, and I didn't find out till like years later what this game even was or what I had seen, but the memory of it had traumatized me. Like it was burned into my brain. Like I knew it was a scary game, and I was walking around. Apparently, I was walking around in the apartment building, very early level in that game, and I remember like I walked up to a pile of just dirty laundry, and like I clicked a button, and like the game decided to focus on it, and like text pops up. I'm not reading the text, and I remember just staring at this pile of laundry for like 5 minutes, like waiting for something to pop out and grab me. And eventually I was just like, no, I don't want to play this anymore. This is scary. And just turned it off. But
yeah, I actually didn't play that game until 2 years ago, Silent Hill. Believe it or not.
Dude, okay.
I believe it.
So
But
if we're moving to the PlayStation era here,
that is around the same time. Adjacent eras.
I'll get to GameCube in a minute, but since we brought up Silent Hill, Yoho will appreciate this one. Silent Hill 3, okay?
Yeah.
Back when the fat PS2s were a thing, where they had like the kill switch on the back, you could just like shut it off. We rented Silent Hill 3 once again from Blockbuster. Went down in his basement. We're like, dude, we're going to tear this game up. We're turning off the lights. We're getting like, we're in it. We're doing it. We start the game. I have the controller in my hand. He's off to my left. We're playing. We get 3 minutes into this game, dude. Something like skittles across the screen, and Yoho just gets up and slaps the delete button on the back of the console. And we never picked it back up. I was like, dude, no.
Dude, that's terrible. That's how it was with the Silent Hill 2. Like, I didn't even know the name of the game or anything. It just, the atmosphere was so intense, it traumatized me, and I was like, I'm never picking this up, whatever it is. But as for Resident Evil, I remember playing. I don't remember like seeing like the opening cinematic. I may have skipped over it, and I was like, oh, I'll be it's like you can pick between Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine, and dumb kid me was like, well, I'm a boy, I'm gonna pick the man to play with, even though that's technically the hard mode of the fucking game.
They don't tell you. They don't tell you that at all.
No,
never,
absolutely
never.
not. And
but hey, man, it's the only time in your life that if you would have went with boobs, it would have been easier.
Listen, I was young. I didn't understand the majesty of boobs at the time. So, anyway, I picked Chris Redfield, and it was like the only items he had was a knife. I was like, okay. I was like, I'll just walk around, and I walk around, just like blindly walking around, and I ended up walking into the hallway where you have the first zombie encounter. Which, if you don't know, is you see a hunched over figure and it goes into a cutscene, and the dude, like the zombie, just like slowly like turns around and looks at you, and then like all of a sudden you're just back in the game and the zombie's coming at you and you gotta defend yourself. little baby me, little baby hollowed. Uh, was sitting there, watch this, and like I see like the hunched over figure, and I was like, "Don't turn around. Do not turn around. Don't do it. No."
Please don't.
Like I was legit like trying to like look away from the screen, and like sure enough, like just like slowly like turns around. And you just see like the rotting like face and like the eyeball, and I'm just like,
It was horrifying.
it was
No.
especially to like little babby hollowed. Like holy shit, that was horrifying. And then it came at me, and I was hitting every button trying to attack it, trying to survive. Nothing was working. I didn't understand like complex motions like hold R1 and use R2 to attack. I didn't understand that was a thing. I just thought if I just keep hitting buttons, eventually I'll attack, and I never did. And then I died, and I was just like immediately hit the open, hit the power off, hit the open tray button, take the disc out, put it away.
Uh, I had literally same exact feels and vibes because I played that at a friend's house, first Resident Evil, because I didn't have a PlayStation to play it, and I remember us just freaking the fuck out and just like slamming the power button, be like, we're done.
It's horrifying when you're a
Yeah.
It
kid.
really is.
Well,
It really
especially at
is.
the time, because that was like the graphics, like that was like top of the line graphics and
That was
everything.
top of the
So
line graphics. Like that was like the most real shit you've ever seen.
yeah, and then you look back at it now, and you're just like, that's what I
Oh,
was
that
afraid of back then.
that was just straight poopy butthole.
Yeah. Another game from this era that I have, like obviously Crash Bandicoot, like
Oh, yeah.
Oh
played
yeah,
that.
Crash Bandicoot.
And very specifically Metal Gear Solid demo. You remember those like demo discs they used to give you at like Pizza Hut?
Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And you would also get them from Game Informer too. They would send you demo
Yeah.
discs.
And like one of like I remember having the Metal Gear Solid demo, and it was just like the like opening like mission where you like sneak through in your wetsuit, and then you get to the top, and then you crawl through some air vents, and you find the one guy who dies from a heart attack or something attacks him in the toilet or whatever. And then
Yeah.
that was it. That was the only.
Yeah.
That was like the only part of the game. That was the only part of the game I had ever seen until I was like maybe in like my like 16 or 17, and like the internet became more of a thing.
Yeah. I actually didn't play Metal Gear Solid until I think 2 years ago, but I had like watched friends play it and then also like some Let's Players online play it. But yeah, I know exactly the toilet death.
Yeah. And then later, like this is like next generation, but oh god. I did play Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater.
That was my oh wait, hear me out. Wait.
Yeah.
Okay. So I bought a PlayStation 2 with my own hard-earned money
Nice.
just so I could borrow the game from a friend to play it, and then I sold the PlayStation 2
Oh.
Wow.
because I wasn't a fan of Sony. I really didn't like Sony stuff for some reason because I had a lot of snobby friends who were like PlayStation's way better than Xbox. But Metal Gear looked like such a cool and awesome game. And my friend he's like, yeah, I would let you borrow it if you had a PlayStation. So I remember like buying it at like a Walmart, and it was just the console, borrowing my friend's controller and then the game, playing it, beating it, and then returning it to him and then selling the console at like
Nice.
GameStop.
Yeah, I didn't get like the first iteration of Metal Gear Solid 3 because they came out with like 3 or 4 different iterations.
Yeah.
And each one like had like, improved camera angles or something. And I remember playing like what was considered at the time like the best version.
Hmm.
Just because like they fixed a bunch of the camera angles and added a bunch of like what would now be DLC, but at the time was just extra content. And
Listen up, game companies.
yeah, remember how you used to do
Learn from
shit?
our childhood.
We're tired of your shit.
We're tired of all this newfangled dangled DLC and giving you more money. Just fix your shit.
Not to backtrack, but did I ever tell you guys my N64 story? And this like explains how strict my parents were.
No, please
Okay.
go ahead.
You might have heard this on my stream before, but okay. So back in like peak N64 days, So this is like what, like I was in like 6th, 7th grade, something like that. I don't fully remember. I was in middle school
Hmm.
and my grades were suffering. So my parents had seen a lot of TV that said that video games rot the brain and will affect your children's like grades and stuff, and you need to take it away from them. So my grades were really bad. So my parents took my N64 away from me, and it was like the middle of the school year, and they said, if you get your grades up, you can have your N64 back. So fast forward through the school year, my grades improved because I wanted that N64 back. And it was the end of the year. The summer had just started. My grades were really good. I was like, okay, can I have it back? And they said, well, we got to think about it a little bit more. And after like towards the end of the summer, I said, well, can I have it back now? And they said, oh, we're really sorry, honey. Your N64 melted in the attic, because that's where they
What
had
the
put it.
hell?
They actually came downstairs when they took it away from me, threw it in a garbage bag with all my games, and then locked it away in the attic. And they told me that it melted in the attic. Fast forward to 3 or 4 years ago. No, actually, probably like 3 or 2 years ago. Was with my parents, and we were talking about, collectibles, and I said, yeah, too bad too bad the N64 melted in the attic, because I could have had it. It would have been a good collectible, might have been worth money someday. And my mom says, melted in the attic. I was like, yeah, that's what you told me when I was a kid. And she's like, oh honey, no, we actually sold it at the yard sale that summer. So
Oh, man.
I went years thinking that my N64 melted in the attic, but they snuck it out during a yard sale to sell it to somebody who came by. They like had secretly advertised it for the yard sale, and I had no idea.
Listen, Chris, I love you, buddy. Yeah.
Mm.
But your mom's nickname just went from Chris X Mom to Bitch X Chad.
She saw nothing wrong with it, and I'm still spiteful. I'll bring it up if she says something that annoys me. I'm like, yeah, like how you lied to me years about the N64 years.
Well, like I had a similar thing, not as bad, but like because I had, my parents were divorced, so I had two living situations, which kind of worked out for me because my parents are apparently competitive when it comes to me, so they each try to like show me how much they love me by buying me things, and which didn't really work. I still love
Yeah.
them both.
Yeah,
And
that can only go so far.
yeah, and I really didn't capitalize on it. I really should have, but I never did. I didn't realize till too late. But um, like if my mom bought me a N64, my dad would buy me an N64, and like so on and so forth. And I had an N64 at both houses. Well, when the next generation of consoles came out, uh, I had a PS2 at my dad's house, and they put the N64 away. And my dad lived with my grandma, his mom, and there was the attic of the garage, which is where they hid everything, including my grandpa's porn stash, which is where I saw my first set of titties. And but no, seriously, like old like black and white like magazines of just like naked chicks who did, apparently the razor wasn't invented back then.
Mm.
And and I would, anytime I'd like go up there and like be trying to like look through stuff, or we were like clearing it out, I knew what box to go to see titties. And
I have a funny story. Speaking of porn, are we allowed to talk about that? Is that
yeah.
okay? Okay, okay. I have a funny story, but continue. I'm sorry. I just remembered something real funny, and it has to do with video games too.
Okay, but like my N64 was up there, and like all the games that went with it, and I had so many games, like the gold Majora's Mask cartridge and
Hmm.
stuff like that. Like it was like all the good stuff was up there. And I remember like years later, I was like, "Hey, do you still have my N64? Like I would like to have it back, so I can play some of my old games." And my grandma was like, "No, I got rid of it." I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean
Oh,
you got rid of it? She's like, I mean, you had new. She's like, you had a new game console, and like it was just taking up space, so I just got rid of it. And I was like, Grandma, no.
Bad grandma. Why, grandma?
No, I just start spraying her with a spray bottle. No, bad grandma.
How dare grandma? Bad, bad.
Yeah. But that's my story. But please go ahead with your titties.
Oh yeah, so I mean, this kind of links back to the PlayStation era because I think that's where we're at. But so my mom's friend who lived in like Jersey her whole life, she had moved to Florida,
Mhm.
and not too far from Disney. So we actually took a
Ooh.
trip down to Florida to go visit my mom's friend, go to Disney, and like spend some time down there. And I forget how old I was at the time, but I was, I think I was like young teenager at this time. Like I
Mhm.
was like 13, maybe 14 or something. So we get down there, and I think like it was like one of the first days we got there. They had like some crazy storms. We were stuck in my mom's friend's house because we were staying with her, and me and my brother were just bored, just absolutely just bored as hell. So my mom's friend goes, "Oh, I forget what. Hold on, what I have to look up which PlayStation this was. It was because I remember the game. I think it was PS2. Yeah, it was PS2. Okay. So she's like, "Oh, she's like, I have a PS2." She's like, if your kids want to go and play on it, we have some games." And so my brother and I, we go. It was in a separate room, so it was just me, and my brother in this room. And I remember opening the drawer and I see Medal of Honor: Rising Sun. Do you guys remember that game?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So, which love the Medal of Honor games. Those were big on me playing shooters. So I got really excited because I had seen it in Game Informer and I didn't have a PlayStation. I'm like, oh, this is actually a game like I wanted to get. I wanted to play. So I'm like, Nick, we should play this. And he's like, all right. So I open it and I don't really pay attention. And the disc was, because I remember after taking the disc out, it was blank. It was just like a blank, like cleared, like not clear, like it was a disc. Something was on it. It was just a blank disc. I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, let's play. So I put it in, and we're like waiting and waiting and waiting, and all of a sudden a fucking porno pops up.
Some Death Does Dallas out of nowhere.
Yeah. And thank God I had like the volume turned low. And my brother, he's like 5 or 6 years younger than me, so he's like a little kid, and he's like, what's happening? And I'm just staring there. I'm like, and I like, because I at that point I knew like what boobs and everything was. I
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
like a somewhat general idea.
Know what the
um
boobs was.
Yeah, I knew what the boobs was. So I like panic and like slam like the power button, and we're just sitting in a dark room, and my brother goes, "Chris, what was that?" And I was like, I'm like, that was a movie. I don't think they have the actual game." And I remember finding the game. It was like buried in the bottom of this drawer, like out of its case.
It was in the
Like,
porno case.
yeah, there were no. I don't know whose porno it was. If it was my mom's friend or maybe the guy that she was with at the time, but must have just thrown it in the case. And I was just like panicking. My brother just kept asking about it. He's like, "Yeah, but what about that tape that we just saw?" And I was like, "Nick, I'm like, you can't tell anybody about that."
Stop talking.
I'm like, that's an adult movie. We could get in trouble. Like only grown-ups can watch that. And he was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "I won't say anything." And then we just sat there very awkwardly and quietly just playing just playing Medal of Honor Rising Sun, and me just panicking like what's going to happen if he tells my mom and my dad.
I'm sorry, Mom. We saw boobs.
Yeah. But yeah, that just God,
Uh, yeah,
video games.
good times.
Okay,
Yeah.
Man,
once again, I've been listening.
yeah.
In the midst
Congratulations.
of all this, like I was saying earlier, this is still video game related, I guess. Where I got this new PC and it came with a monitor that I've never heard of. But I happened to look down and I'm like, nah, I'll unpackage it while I'm listening. Um, it's a 27-inch curve monitor, and I was like, oh, curved. So I've been
Ooh.
slapping that bad boy together. It's bigger than my other monitor. So
What's she said?
now my Ultra Gear is going to be my secondary monitor,
But
and
Ooh.
what's the
this
hertz on
bad
it?
boy right here. Both
Are
are
you
144.
All right, good, good.
Ooh, I'm jealous. I only have one 144 hertz monitor.
Same. I think my
It's like
other
the one I
monitor
game
is
on.
like 30 or something. Like I didn't care about it. I was
Yeah.
just gonna use it for like
Yeah,
chat.
I actually got like a shitty Dell that's 30, and then I have a Samsung that's 60.
The only thing I can say as of right now is I don't know if it's because it's curved or what. The resolution doesn't look as crisp as that Ultra Gear that I have.
It's because of the curve.
Yeah.
Some curve monitors lose like that like crispness.
Also, well, wait until you get the new GPU in, but make sure you update your drivers.
Oh yeah, that could be it as well. Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, whenever I first updated my drivers for the first time, the resolution became magical. Like I was shocked by how fucking amazing it looked. Just on like my like background.
Right. Oh, I do. Oh man. I have so many waiting, but I have to restart. I'm not going to do that at the moment though.
Nah, probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
But
And
video games.
this
Video
monitor.
games.
Okay.
Sorry. No, go. No, go.
I was just going to say it actually came with a display cable. I've never had one of those.
Oh yeah,
So-
display supports like higher resolutions and refresh rates. Everybody's moving over to display now.
Yeah, the graphics card I'm getting from our good buddy. I'm gonna drop him here again, Cap America. Tomorrow told me through text that it's either 2 HDMI ports in one display or 3 HDMI ports in one display. And now I've got a
Ooh.
display cord, so I'm gonna use this main monitor with a display, and I'll slap an HDMI on my Ultra Gear. And
There you
some
go, man.
crispy
There you
games.
go. Save yourself
at
a
you.
USB port.
Yeah, I'm gonna be so pumped to have dual screens while I'm streaming.
Listen, here's the thing, and this goes to anybody who's listening to this. Once you go 2 monitors, you cannot go back.
No.
You
Like
just
you're
go up from there.
yeah, you just literally go up from there.
If I had more desk room, I'd have a third monitor, but I don't have room. I'd have to like staple it to my wall or something.
Oh, did I ever tell you how I had my monitor set up back before we moved from Nevada? That third monitor I have, or that upper monitor that I have on my setup.
No.
Well, I mean, now I have like an actual arm mount, but the way that I had it before was that I bought one of those like pegboards, like you would see on that you would see like in like a garage like workshop, like you would hang your tools and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one of those and I had attached it to the wall, and then I used zip ties
Oh.
to to zip tie the little hooks to the back of the monitor where the screws were, and that's how my monitor used to be like up above me. My upper monitor used to be.
See, my room used to be in the basement of one of my parents' houses, and it would flood down there occasionally. And one time it flooded real bad and like screwed up my my power strip. So it's like I had to go buy a new one, and I don't want like it fucking up like my computer and my Xbox and everything else I had plugged in at the time. So what I did was I took the power strip, and I had like this like really big like extravagant TV like stand. So what I did was I took the power cord and like held it up to the back of the TV stand, which was and like had like that like thick like cardboard essential back, and then took a knife and like poked around it, and then just took zip ties and tied it around it, like just essentially zip tied it to the back of the TV stand.
That's gotta love a good ghetto rig. You
Yeah.
gotta love it.
Okay, video games.
Video games, yeah.
Video games.
I'd say we're up to like the PlayStation 2, GameCube era.
I completely bypassed that era. For me, the next thing was Xbox, like the OG Xbox.
I think Xbox would fall into like GameCube, PS2 era, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think Xbox was a little bit before, but it was like PlayStation 1, Xbox, GameCube, SP.
One of my favorite games from like my GameCube was Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life.
Yes.
I actually played it on stream before October, and also they did just announce recently that they are doing a remake of it for the Switch.
I didn't hear about that. Oh, that's so cool.
I think it's called a Story of Seasons, because like the rights to the Harvest Moon name have been completely like fucked around, so they just changed it to Story of Seasons. But they are doing a remake of it for Switch, and
That's dope.
I will be getting it, and I will be playing it on stream when I get it.
Love that.
Also, Metroid Prime. That was a big game for GameCube era. Metroid Prime 1 and 2 were the ones that I played. I never got to play 3 because it was on the Wii, and I didn't want to deal with the motion controls.
The Wii was.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved Metroid Prime. Also the last two. Well, not the last two in the main trilogy of the Prince of Persia games.
I played the original, and there was another one I played. I forget.
Sands of Time.
Yeah,
Sands of Time was great.
Yeah, I never played Sands of Time, which I heard they're also making a remake of that.
Yeah, it's been delayed like 7 times now.
I believe it. But Warrior Within, that's where I got into it, which was just so badass. Warrior Within.
Oh, it's so good.
Badass game.
It's good. Very, very good.
And then what was it? Oh, I keep wanting to say the Shattered Throne, but that's a Destiny dungeon. the Twin Throne, something like that. The third game where like you had like a dark version of the prince, and you could use like a bladed whip to beat people's asses.
Oh, did he have like a red scarf?
That sounds
and like a hook hand.
No.
Like, you know that one that I'm talking about, right? He had like a metal hand.
I think that was like the rebrand of Prince of Persia.
Oh yeah, and it like flopped real hard, didn't it?
Yeah, they like tried to do like a completely different thing just with the Prince of Persia name, and everyone's like,
yeah,
no.
That one I remember. That one I was like, ooh.
Yeah. It's Halo 2. That was a big game for me.
Yeah. I was gonna say, unfortunately, I didn't have a GameCube. I did have an Xbox.
Oh, I've got some GameCube games up on the list.
Yeah, a lot of the GameCube games I would like go over a friend's house and play. Wind Waker, Pikmin, stuff like that. Like I would always have to go over my Pikmin was great.
Wind Waker was one of mine on the list.
Wind Waker is amazing.
I'm surprised I didn't write this on my list, but Animal Crossing, the original for the GameCube.
Yes.
When you were talking about PlayStation, did you bring up Monster Hunter?
No, we haven't got there yet.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this is like it's in this generation, so yeah, we can talk about Monster Hunter. Because me and Sleazy here, we played the first Monster Hunter on PlayStation 2
for an entire weekend, nonstop.
For an entire weekend.
We took shifts.
Yeah, we did like 3 days because he had internet access and I did not.
Okay.
And I went over to his house and we'd play on his PlayStation 2 and we would just, keep switching back and forth. It was literally like I'd go to sleep and then wake up and then he'd go to sleep and I'd play Monster Hunter. And so we'd play online for an entire weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, my first Monster Hunter game was one of them on the PSP, which was that was the only Sony device that I had. And I'm trying to remember which one it was, but after that I fell in love with Monster Hunter and was so upset I couldn't play play Monster Hunter games.
Yeah, I played the Monster Hunter games on the PSP. Freedom. There was Freedom 2, and Freedom Unite.
Yeah, I think it was Freedom. It probably was Freedom.
Yeah, because Freedom was essentially, I think it was Monster Hunter 2, which we never got. I don't know. There's a whole. I used to know Monster Hunter like the back of my goddamn hand. I could tell you what games came out in what year, but
did you guys play Rise? Did you guys get Rise?
I skipped over Rise.
I did not.
I played Monster Hunter World so much by the time Rise came out, I was burnt out.
I get that. It's very easy to burn out on Monster Hunter games.
Yeah, so I've decided to skip over Rise like completely. I'll wait until the next big Monster Hunter game comes out. Like whatever it may be, World 2, Rise 2, Electric Boogaloo, I don't know. But I will play the next one, and I will bury myself into it.
Oh, you'll bury yourself in its bosom.
Yeah. Just monster boobies all up in my face.
That's what the game's about, right?
Yeah. Wait, what games have you guys been playing?
You're actually hunting the monsters. I'm like
What?
dating the monsters. That's
You
how
know
I hunt
what?
for them.
You know what? That wouldn't be surprising if there is a shoot off game at some point that Capcom makes where you hunt and we date the monsters.
Listen, friggin' Dead by Daylight came out with a dating game. They can do that for Monster Hunter.
Yeah, Monster Hunter can do it.
Capcom's got the money. They could totally do it.
I would woo the fuck out of a Raytheon. Don't at me.
Oh God. Uh,
But I feel like Devil Joe would just be like a really buff dude.
oh, absolutely. He's the pickle.
Yeah. Oh god, he's coming at you with his pickle.
There's pickles coming for you.
Oh no. Yeah.
I'm like for me, it was big on Xbox during that time. So like Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront was big for me. And like it definitely played into me liking shooters. Halo for sure. Um, Also the Splinter Cell games were big for me on the Xbox. I loved Splinter Cell. I was Chaos Theory and Double Agent.
Oh my
I think.
god. Double Agent was so fun. I used to play with one of our buddies all the time. And when
Mm.
it had that like the VoIP, when you would grab someone, you could whisper sweet nothings into their ear before you snap their neck.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
When you played online, dude, I would be like, "Yeah, who's your fucking daddy?" And then just just snap their neck. I loved it, dude.
It was such a good game. The Splinters. I hope that they bring back Splinter Cell. To be honest,
I've heard rumors that they're going to.
so they keep flying around, and then it gets unconfirmed, and then reconfirmed, and it's. I don't think Ubisoft knows what the heck they're doing.
They really don't. I mean, what was it? What was that game? Ghost Recon. It was one of the
I had
newer
Ghost
ones.
Recon on the list here for me. There were because there was a few.
Like an advanced warfighter or
Oh yeah.
That I was a Breaking Point.
Breaking Point's fun. I've
Yeah, it
played
is
those
fun.
recently.
But there's
Yeah,
like a whole
Breakpoint's
like
good.
there's like a whole like class that's like essentially dedicated like Sam Fisher.
Yeah, they even had him like cameo in
Yeah.
Wildlands and also Breakpoint.
Yeah,
Yep. There's a few missions where you can go talk to Sammy Boy.
I heard that there's I don't know if it's in Breaking Point or Wildlands, but it's like the Predator. Like you have to hunt like the Predator's like hunting you.
That was
during some missions.
Wildlands, I believe.
Yeah, that was Wildlands.
Okay. Yeah.
There was also a sniper called I think either the Abominable Snowman or the Yeti or something like that.
No, cool.
I had to go like hunt him down. Boom. Breakpoint had the Terminator event
Okay.
where you could get like it was like basically like the T8 like whatever they're called, the T8000s, but they invaded the island.
Oh God.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, crossovers.
I guess we'll just jump into like the 360 era. I only have 2 games here for this one that really stood out to me. Gears of War. That one was.
That is on my list. That's actually my
That's on
one
my list,
game
too.
for the 360.
Yeah, I figured it would be on your list because that was a game that like all of us, like all of our friends.
I played so much of it that I cracked my disc with heat cracks.
What?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
We used to play so much of it. Like I remember Gears of War 3 whenever it came out, and it had the sawed-off shotgun, and I will bring up the story every time we bring up Gears of War because I love it so much. I took out basically an entire team with one shot of the sawed-off shotgun.
It was amazing. I watched it.
What was that that was a different gun, not the Nasher, right?
Yeah, it was the Gears 3 that had the sawed off.
Gotcha.
It was really powerful, but you only had one shot, and then you had to
be
reload.
satisfying.
Oh, it was like I remember. I remember like we were playing, and they were getting the hill, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, they're getting the hill!" And I was like, "Don't worry, I got this." and then just
Yeah.
click, and then everybody's name just pops up on the kill feed.
Yeah,
That's the
that was
best,
dope.
man.
I
That's
was
the
there.
best.
And Sleazy's like, "What the fuck did you just do?"
Actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but new Gears game in the works right now.
That doesn't surprise me. It feels like it's
Yeah.
about time for a new Gears game.
Yeah, I waited long enough.
Yeah, and I don't know. The past couple games, I felt kind of disappointed multiplayer wise.
They were like okay at first, and then I just kind of lost interest.
Yeah, they're trying the same like multiplayer model that everybody's trying. We're like, oh, there's battle passes and fucking microtransactions to get all these cool skins and whatnot, and I just don't
It sucks that
care.
they do that, but they kind of have to because that's what everybody's doing, you know?
Yeah, and I understand it
Uh,
from like a money making standpoint for companies. Like they have to make their money,
Yeah.
and games really do not cost $60 anymore. No matter what the price tag is on them,
No.
you're going to end up spending more in the long run. And it's
All right,
just
I'm gonna backtrack real quick because I think I was gone for some of it. I'm just gonna rattle them off. I'm not really gonna talk about them too much.
okay.
But on the GameCube, it was Sonic Battle 2, amazing
Oh my
game,
God,
loved it,
yes.
one of my favorites.
How did I
Ty the
forget that?
Tasmanian Tiger, amazing game, loved it. Tony Hawk's Underground and Wind Waker, of course.
How did I miss
Uh,
Tony Hawk's Underground?
I don't know, buddy, I got you though.
Thank you.
PS2, we've already talked about Monster Hunter and Silent Hill 3, but
Yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus was one of them.
Oh, that's a good one.
Never got to play that one.
Sorry, had to mute my mic. Xbox, Halo, Combat Evolved, Munch's Odyssey, and Oddworld Stranger. Those games were amazing.
I forgot about Oddworld Stranger. That's such a good game.
I got you guys. On Katie's, I'll go ahead and get hers off here too. The last two on hers, it's Destiny, of course.
That's fair.
Yeah, and Life is Strange.
Oh, very
Never
good
played
story
that.
game.
Oh, it's very good. If you like story-driven games, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
The Life is Strange game is very good.
But I wasn't trying to rush. I'm going to have to go. That's why I was just trying to get those out of there. I got to make the kitties din.
Okay.
And do some other stuff. But I will be back if you're like planning on doing some gaming stuff.
Yeah.
I will be back.
Yeah, definitely will. You go do your thing, bud. Well, I'll be here.
Chris, it was fun talking to you, buddy. I love you.
fun talking to you too.
Plug yourself real quick.
Plug it.
You can find me at twitch.tv/Sleazy the Bearded.
You need
That's
socials.
it. I need so many socials, dude. You can find me on Discord. If you hop around, you know, either in the Beard Zone or the Hollowed Crevasse or Gifts Platoon. I'm in those.
You are.
But other than that, yeah, I'm a very boring person. I guess I don't have socials.
You beautiful. You beautiful.
Beautiful.
Oh, you the best. I love
Just
you,
be
boys.
more of a presence.
I know. I'm working on it.
I'll talk to you later, but
All right.
Take care.
I'll see you guys later. Thanks for having me.
yeah. No, thanks
No
for being
problem.
Oh, bye-bye.
here. Bye. I've really only got one other game to talk about.
Okay.
That I have on my list, and that's just Assassin's Creed.
Oh, yeah. How did I freaking forget about it? That was the game that I got with the 360,
Yeah.
and I was hooked. And that was a big reason why I wanted a 360.
I mean, whenever the first one came out, I played the shit out of it, and it actually got a funny story of that it involves Assassin's Creed, but I don't know if I could say it on Twitch, so another time.
That you'll have to check out Hollowed's Discord. Maybe he'll let it loose in the Discord somewhere.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I played the hell of the first one. Assassin's Creed 2 came out. I actually played it so much on like launch night that the next day I had to take it back and get another copy of it because because my 360 had like straight up burnt a hole into the disc.
Oh god, that was such a common issue with 360s.
Yeah, and but I played Assassin's Creed 2, and I didn't play any of the spin-offs that came out with like Ezio's like storyline.
They were good. They were very, very good.
I heard they were good, and I'm glad they were. But Assassin's Creed 3 was coming out, and I was
Mm.
excited for it because I am Native American, and we're having a Native American protagonist during like the Revolutionary War era.
Yeah, that one I didn't finish, but I really did
Don't.
enjoy the unique the setting.
Yeah. See, I played it and like I loved like I had fun with it. Like there were like some like small bugs here and there, like graphical bugs. Like there
Mm.
was at one point where like I was in like a danger state from like my essentially my health getting too low. And even whenever I got my health back, it wouldn't go away. And like it would play like over cutscenes and stuff.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was like reset the game and it was fine. But um once I got to the ending, I was so mad by the end of the game, just
Ye-
like
it-
the way that it ended. I didn't play another Assassin's Creed game until Valhalla.
I loved Valhalla. Valhalla was so good.
Valhalla is so good. I mean,
Yeah,
clearly I love it because my freaking mascot model is based off of Valhalla.
Valhalla was fantastic, and I know a lot of people don't like the new style, but I like the RPG s style that the new Assassin's Creed games have. But definitely
It,
Assassin's Creed was a big one for me. On
yeah, like I was skeptical about the new style. Uh,
oh yeah, because it's completely different from everything that we've seen for Assassin's Creed. It's
yeah, and
understandable.
I saw Valhalla was coming out, and I was like, okay, this at least looks interesting. And like the Viking Times, like, yeah, let's go.
Mm.
And one of my buddies that I worked with at the prison, he bought it, and he's like, "Hey, did you get Valhalla yet?" And I was like, "No, I don't have the money yet, but I'll be getting it whenever I can." And like the next day, he's like, "Hey, did you get Valhalla yet?" I was like, "No." He's like, "You have it now." he, he gifted it to me. I was like, "But why?" He's like, "I don't know. Merry Christmas."
Aw.
I was like, "Oh, thank you, appreciate it." And
We're
I
like,
played the shit out of it.
yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything else like in that era, but definitely Assassin's Creed for me.
Mhm.
The Fable games I had on my
Oh my god,
list.
Fable, yeah.
Yeah, Fable games were big. A game series I would love to see come back, Mercenaries. Do you remember Mercenaries?
Yes, vaguely.
They had that song, "Oh No You Didn't." That was like their like
Yes.
yeah.
Funny enough, I was
um
listening to Spotify the other day and just like going through like random just a random playlist and that song popped up and I was like, this is a fucking blast from the past.
yeah, I remember seeing it all the time on TV and I was just like, "Oh, this game seems so cool."
Yeah.
And what else did I have? Oh, another one that it just was a really good game. But I feel like it was also underrated. Star Wars Republic Commando.
I did hear about that one. I never played it. I remember
Yeah,
seeing it
I
a
I
bunch.
know I know it's on like Steam now and stuff, but that was another one that was like I loved the heck out of that game.
Mhm.
I wish they did something else with it. That's it just feels like wasted space.
Yeah. I heard like I heard rumors. I, was it about that game? I can't remember. No, I'm thinking of a completely different game. Sorry. I remember hearing rumors that like Sega took essentially time away from developing. I think it was Aliens Colonial Marines
Yeah, that
and
game.
and
That
put it
game.
all towards Borderlands.
Yeah.
And like it was so bad that like the people who own the Alien series like ended up trying to sue Sega for not producing a good enough game.
Yeah, well, so you know what the funny part about it is that after that game came out, it was like years later, somebody actually found out that there was a setting in the config files because the big thing that a lot of people complain about Alien Colonial Marines was that the AI was dumb,
Yeah.
especially the aliens. But it turns out that there was a config file somewhere in the settings that was borked, and that's why the aliens AI sucked. And if you went in there and changed one number to a different number, it made them like super like good AI.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it was like a few years ago someone discovered because the game came out like what was it like I forget what year this game came out. I don't remember. Anyway, but yeah, it was like a year or two ago. Someone was like, "Yeah, they messed up in developing the game. They just had to change this number here, and now it works."
So essentially, the game was fucked because of a typo.
Yep, literally because of a typo. It's literally one digit you changed, and you can find like that online, like where to find that, and it makes the game like an actual game and not like a breezy, easy game.
Oh my god, that's amazing. But that's the thing about like coding, because like I did do some of that while I was in school. Like the smallest thing will
Yeah,
ruin your whole
yeah,
setup.
yeah. And I watched some dude do it, and it's just like it's literally night and day. Like the AI are like running into walls and not paying attention and just standing still, and then you change this value, and they like come at you and swarm you, and it's like, oh, this is how the game was supposed to be played.
Oh Jesus. But all right, I mean, we've been going on for over 2 hours now. I think that's a good place to end the
Yeah.
stream, well, not in the stream, but in the recording.
I've had to pee for the past like 30 minutes, so I'm ready.
Okay, well, plug your stuff.
Yeah, sure. You can find me hanging out over on twitch.tv/ChrisxChad. That's twitch.tv/ChrisxChad. And
Spelled it.
then that same name on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, just ChrisxChad.
Oh, the beautiful man. You can also find me at twitch.tv/hollowed arrow. There'll be this podcast will be on Spotify, YouTube. You can find me on TikTok.
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts.
We're not there yet, but we will be.
Oh, right. I knew that.
I'm on. Find me on Facebook. Find me on Twitter. I don't really post to TikTok, but I'm there. So you can find me and see like the one video I have, like me showing off my wrist tattoo. Was about it. And then
It's worth it.
yeah,
Go check it out.
Yeah, blow up that video. But
Smash that like button.
yeah, but thank you very much, Chris, for coming on and hanging out.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. I was excited when you told me about your podcast, and it is an honor to be invited here. So thank you for having me.
It's an honor for you to be here. But, all
Oh.
right. Well, bye, everybody. See you next month.
Bye, everybody.